Hello everyone, this is Koji. November the 15th, in the very last hour here. I'm on the west coast on the road, and I just learned I can't go back home anymore. All the roads are washed out. Sun Deucalion conjunction today. I told you this would be an intense day, and this is just the start. We're now into the final 3 months of this great awakening, and I will explain you why I think that way. So let's get started 2 or 4 or 8 days ago. 8 days ago, Ixion had its second and final entry into Capricorn. It might not be its final one, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, this is an important shift. Ixion is here, I show you. Yeah, 0 degrees, 0, 0, and you have to follow this line which leads to this point. So Ixion opposing chaos, that's the big one here. And Juno and Venus were just aligned here with Ixion. Now Ixion is an interesting one. Ixion is an extremely smart mind. So much so that he was able to cheat on the gods. This went for so long, and then he was caught and put to justice, and in order to repent for his sins, he was spun on a flaming wheel and sent out into the cosmos. So Ixion is an extremely bright mind, but at its lower level, very taken by its passions. Now once these passions are transformed, going through the holy fire, then they become extremely powerful spiritual tools, and that's what they are. So guess what? This is Greenwich chart for Ixion's Capricorn ingress. And look at these degrees here. That's where we will have the lunar eclipse. I'll just show you how or why. just give me here a sec. This is the chart here, I guess. Right, here we go. 2717 Taurus, 2014 Scorpio. This in itself is important. Yeah, astrology, in my opinion, is like a puzzle. There's things which are interlocking with each other, and when something like that happens, that means this energy will be extremely important in the context of this upcoming lunar eclipse, which is very important. It's a full moon. It's the full moon in Taurus with the sun in Scorpio. Very spiritual energy that is in a perfect angle to the galactic center. Actually, 8 full moons in a row between September 20, 2021, that's now 2 months since, that was number 1, and into April 2022, April 16, 2022 will be the 8th full moon, which has a exact 30-degree multiples angle to the galactic center. That is meaning the galactic center has its hands in the game for that whole time. It's like someone is holding our hand, you could say. A higher frequency, the galactic center is the strongest incoming energy source, so much so that in 1932, when it was discovered by a ham radio operator, that whenever this area in the sky came in the way, there was high interference and white noise, and he figured then out this was the galactic center. So it's also called the super sun, the oversun, the higher spiritual source point, if you want, as it holds the whole galaxy together. So it's a very important energy, the galactic center. Whenever it is activated in your chart, it means that you are on a mission, that you are called, and if whichever planet is aligned with your galactic center in your chart will be very, very important. It will, you could say, this is almost where you will find where you find your calling, what you're really here for to do. It all links into the galactic center, because this is the time when we're opening our gates to the galactic plane, if you want, to the galactic family, to the greater cosmos. We were locked in a box for a long time here on planet Earth. Now we're opening all the windows and doors, and with all the good and bad on both sides. But so Ixion, okay, this brings in all the passionate intelligence of the people. Venus, Juno, very close to the galactic center, actually. I mentioned that in my last video, I guess. A very important activation, Juno, partnership, working together, teamwork, coming together as one humanity. It is really happening. It is amazing today. It's a powerful day today. Not only thousands of people had been officially fired, let go, no more income, no more support. They're having had the courage to do that, to just trust in existence and know this is the right thing to do, because there is a line in the sand. My body, my choice, as simple as that, as was promoted all along. And we know we are doing the right thing. So this is today, but also today in support of all these people. In the United States, as I mentioned in my last video, there have been thousands and thousands of health workers now who have intentionally joined and gone on strike and support their colleagues and friends who are taking a stand. It is really beautiful how division no more works, that divide and conquer between the vaxxed and the unvaxxed. I mean, it's not working. People are starting to see through the game. Now today, okay, now one more I have to say, because that was on the 7th of November. Now the next one, big shift, that was just 2 days after. That was when Chariklo changed signs. Here we have this chart, that's now November 9. And this, okay, let me first give you some intro into Chariklo. Chariklo is Chiron's wife. Here you see her in where she is in position 0 Aquarius, here 0 0 0 Aquarius, and you follow this line and you get here. And okay, so Chariklo is the wife of Chiron, mythologically, the character she was, this celestial body was named after. Takes about 70 years to travel once around the zodiac. Has the energy of a midwife, very important, holding sacred space, giving the ability to witness a reservoir of compassion, devotion, discernment, and presence in Aquarius. The first of the many asteroids here which will eventually enter Aquarius over the course of the next years or decades. Why is this important? Well, this is the Aquarian age. That has been made very clear with Jupiter and Saturn's conjunction in December 2020 at 0 degree Aquarius. That was really the beginning, and actually it even predates that, as I showed you energetically, when on November the 2nd, 2020, heliocentrically, Jupiter and Saturn had their conjunction. Also in the first degrees, actually at 1 degree 50 Aquarius, that was heliocentrically speaking on the 2nd of November, just in the fourth night of that world-changing event, I would call it in retrospect. The American elections, which threw the ball back into our court. That's what I have been saying, and I have been seeing it moving in a different way naturally. Nobody saw that coming in a way, or maybe we could have seen it if one really would have done the whole analysis of what the upcoming astrological alignments and such. But again, I don't like to look ahead too far. I like to keep it interesting, so that's why I usually limit myself to about a 2-month period, and then just try to approximate what I see in the charts to translate that into real events. However, I had said that, and that's what I'm getting to, that it will be the power of the people. And I guess we saw that already during that year when all these rallies were, when thousands and thousands of people were getting together in that movement President Trump had started of making America great again. And that has not lost any of its momentum. In its own way, it has transformed, transmuted. It's now become a pure grassroots movement. Now, what is interesting here in this ingress chart is the moon's position at 2742 Capricorn. That's exactly to 10 minutes away from the American nations. Pluto here, 2733 in Capricorn. So this really resonates with the American nation, and we will see as we go through the charts, there's a lot of activations going on for the American peoples. It's kind of, that's where all the focus is put, where all our eyes are in a way globally, because that is really where the great breakthrough will happen. We are all doing our own thing as good as we can, but really that's where the big battles is fought, and first one, and then will spread out all over the globe. I said that many times, and I still see it that way. So earlier today then was the heliocentric Astraea Pluto conjunction. Astraea is the one which is rolling. It's actually a goddess, it's a feminine energy. She's rolling her sleeves back. She is getting her hands dirty. She is hands-on resolving problems, not escaping up to the Mount Olymp and taking herself out of the picture. She is really helping people. Astraea Pluto, it is about reforming Pluto. Pluto is the principle of power, the principle of manipulation at worst, but also of transformation at best. Pluto is an incredibly dynamic universe. It's actually a dual planet. There's lots of duality in there, in that sense of polarizations. One could say. I guess that's a way to see polarity polarizing itself, so we can really see both sides. So here, okay, this is another degree which is really hot. 6-8 degrees Scorpio. Watch that degree, it will come back over and again over the next few charts, and actually that's where there will be heliocentric Venus-Mars opposition on the 26th of November. That is a day to mark on your calendar. This will be a high point of creation. Starting a new direction. That's what the opposition is. A moment of something has been built to its completion and will now be released in a way. Well, it is a big window really between now and the end of the month. And okay, so there's so many things I want to share here with you. I guess it's going to be a more of the long on the long side here. Sorry about that, but it's just too exciting. And if I had the time, and I could do a video every day. There's so much going on out in the cosmos right now. Anyway, so this is now the Sun Deucalion conjunction. Deucalion is the same character as Noah. Let me just show you something here. I pulled a write-up from the net, from Encyclopedia Britannica. Deucalion in the Greek legend is the equivalent of Noah, the son of Prometheus, which is the god who brought the fire, who created humankind. So Deucalion is a very important figure in that sense. When Zeus, the king of the gods, resolved to destroy all humanity by a flood, Deucalion constructed an ark, in which, according to one version, he and his wife rode out the flood and landed on Mount Parnassus. It is very interesting, I find, that this conjunction of the Sun with this body, this Kuiper belt object, far out in the deep space, much farther away than Pluto. I just am now curious myself. I just wanna, well, let's not go there. Too many things which I want to share still. So anyway, Sun Deucalion, and the irony of the thing is has a lot of water been coming down here where I'm presently am here on the west coast of Canada, and I cannot go home anymore now, as I just found out a few hours ago. Roads have been washed out everywhere in that area where I should drive through. I'm just showing you here. It's just hilarious. I mean, it's very sad for those people who are directly involved and have to suffer through that. I'm feeling for them, but it is really the synchronicity here is again just uncanny. I mean, what the weather really shows, and I want to quickly say that, is it's a reflection of our collective state of mind. When we are in a crazy mode and the weather is crazy, and naturally people can be intentionally put into a crazy mode by whatever electromagnetic frequencies and think harp and things like that, weather control. I mean, it's pretty obvious that these disasters are not fully natural. So that's how it looks. Just show you here a few more pictures of that kind. Let me see, where do I get here a little bit? Where do I get that arrow? Here. Yeah, no, it's not working. Okay, never mind. It is there's many pictures there on that side, but it's not playing right now. That's fine. So you get the bigger picture. So Sun Deucalion, this is an activation. It is Deucalion. I mean, is that character similar to Noah, and what it implies, it's getting ready for something, having some foreknowledge, preparing for an yet unseen event. Now get this, 12 degrees Sag is here at the midheaven when this conjunction was exact. And this is, okay, let me pull up the right chart here. I guess it's one of those. Here it is. Nope, it's down here. Right. Okay, I have too many charts open, sorry. Where is it? I thought I had it open, maybe not. This is where the solar eclipse will happen, that degree. Okay, let's go back. Sorry about that. I thought I had it open. 1251, that will be the December 4th solar eclipse. I'm just showing you how this all interlocks, how these energies become very important very soon, much more so. This is just the seeds which were planted. This is actually really interesting, that is tying into what I just said before of a grassroots movement. Phoenix, Arizona has been mentioned. This is the new capital of the United States of America in their reformed, in their rebirth. Mars exactly at the ascendant here, 1046, 1046. You see here it's easier to read. I find it pretty remarkable for that Sun Deucalion. So it is, that's where the action will be started to rebuild. It's I mean, it makes total sense. It's just a confirmation. Actually, the moon, I should mention, the moon, when that was exact, was at 1101 Aries. Now, if we go back to the heliocentric, 1103 Aries is heliocentric position of Chiron in that moment. Now there's an it's like a spark which is jumping between the heliocentric and the geocentric sphere. It's a parallel transference of fields. I guess you get the picture here. So the heliocentric is the purely energetic level. And as I said, there was this Australia-Pluto conjunction today as well, which is that getting to the meat of reforming power structures. That's what it really means. We have put our foot down. We are not giving in. We are telling you that's how we only accept it, and that's where we want it to go, and we will bend history. That's basically what it is. That's what is coming the next 3 months. It will be big. Now let me throw in something, and I might do 2 different videos because I have too many things I really want to share with you, really. Because 2021 is really the inversion of 2012. I spoke about that a few times already. Oracle Girl has said that, other people too. So I was going back to Bill Wood's interview about the 2012 paradox. I want to play you here a couple minutes. This is very, very relevant. This is about what is happening now and in the next few months. Listen carefully.
At the end of 2012, an easy way to put it, the choices that we make become less and less consequential to the future. And eventually we're pushed into this bottleneck of time, no matter which choice we make. And that's important to the people that had access to Looking Glass, because they would use Looking Glass knowing the choices that they would make and the future would pop up. The big mistake was coming up with the possibility of future. And when we started using the computer to say, well, if we make this choice, it's 79% possible that this scenario happens, and 23% sort of possible or whatever, round numbers, that this scenario will happen. The understanding at the time was that was realistic. However, if you go down the road further and free will continues to exercise itself on this game, that 79% possibility sometimes changes very, very fast. But if you look at the situation in a point of time, it seems very realistic that that's the greatest possibility. What happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that something big was coming up. Something that made it so all the possibilities, all the future scenarios of any choice, any possibility that was fed in and observed through the Looking Glass inherently ended up in the same future.
Yes, that's the bottom line here. It's a convergence of timelines. When that whole pandemic started in 2020, it became very fast clear to me that this was the beginning of that unification, as we collectively, globally were experiencing the same thing at the same time. It was a streamlining which started happening, of bringing all our personal timelines in a coherence. And also it was about collapsing personal bubbles. In many ways, we had to adjust to a situation which was greater than we are. So, in a way, what we see playing out on our planet is an amazing choreography of awakening, of bringing, of shaking a sleeping and complacent population awake. It is a very, very wonderfully staged process. Just think of this. Just for example, all the visible signs of where someone stands by whatever they wear in front of their mouth or their nose or not. You can see immediately who is on what path, who thinks how. The fear, everything is in our faces now. We cannot hide it anymore. Everything is visible. And one thing I realized also early on is, because of that visibility of who is on what path, we who are maybe a little bit more awake, we can send these people energy and focus ourselves on them and give them the necessary input to maybe wake up, become more aware of what's really going on this planet, because that's really important as we go in these next few months. That's really where we're going. I mean, now it's about killing 5 to 11-year-old kids, and this is another one I really want to quickly run by you and show you. This is Dr. David Martin, who just today released this last talk of his, who they are, the names and faces of the people who are killing humanity, and he is very outspoken. He puts it down into he zooms in on it, I should say, because he's an amazing researcher, and I just want to share you this one slide here with you. Here it is. So this mandatory injection was planned in 2015 by the COVID RICO conspirators. Now this is from a speech which was given by Peter Daszak in 2016 on February 12. Until an infectious disease crisis is very real, present, and at an emergency threshold, it is often largely ignored, naturally, to sustain the funding base beyond the crisis. Beyond the crisis, he said, we need to increase public understanding of the need for medical countermeasures such as pan-influenza and pan-coronavirus vaccine, 2016. A key driver is the media to increase the public understanding of the need for medical countermeasures. A key driver is the media, and the economics follow the hype. They speak it out. We need to use that hype to our advantage. Speaking of those people who have built that master plan, to get to the real issues. Investors will respond if they see profit at the end of the process, Daszak stated. Well, I guess this is hot stuff. This is a bombshell. Yes, I shared it with all my people. I think we really are obliged to do that. We are here standing up for the future of humanity, for our children, for our grandchildren. This is the line in the sand. It has arrived. So, one thing I want to add here, as Dr. Martin, I admire this man. He must have put so much energy into this. He has been studying all the patents, and as he was giving in earlier talks where he exposed all these patents when they were filed for these vaccines in 2000. Actually, in 1990 starting, you have to listen to him. He is amazing. However, just one point I want to make. On September 19, he mentioned this was signed by President Trump. Okay, come on. Here we go. President Trump signed this executive order into law modernizing influenza vaccines in the United States to promote national security and public health. Now, I have read through this, and obviously President Trump was presented this. I also agree with him that President Trump is not the author really of this. He was just this was put on his desk, and he was asked to authorize that. I have read through it, and I cannot find what Dr. Martin says about mRNA techniques and things like that. I think this is not in writing here unless I have overlooked it. But what it does, it says that vaccinations are very important, that the process has to be upgraded because only 45% are currently about following these vaccination routines. So they want to increase that. I guess mentioning pandemics in September 2019. So it is really interesting in itself, that whole document. But what I mean is the document itself does not mention these new techniques of creating vaccinations. It just says that they have to upgrade from using chicken eggs to in vitro fabricate or whatever, grow that vaccine. So they want to use new methods, and within 120 days these new methods should be presented to the office. That's what I got out of it. So it is in that sense taking the fire away from blaming President Trump of having signed something that would be harmful to humanity. He probably in good faith has just, that's as I understand how I see the man. I think he is having integrity. He has definitely his weak points, as we all do, but he means good, and many negative people have taken advantage of him, and this is definitely one example. So that's my take on this. I thought I should mention this because this is important. So let's go back to the charts here, and one sec. This is where we want to go. So okay, so we are now here. Yes, I just wanted to point this out once more, this frequency of Chiron with the moon. Yes, this is now getting real. We are in the process of facing what's wrong and having no way to escape that. It is pushed into our faces. We have to look at it and deal with it, and either this or that. We have the choice. It's all free will based, which is beautiful. There's no interference from the outside, really, in that sense, even though there is, as we know, it is both. But there was this meme going around, and I really liked it. Thinking you have no choice is a choice. Thinking you have no choice is a choice. Yes. Because even if you accept that they put you in the situation of having no choice, you still have the choice of not going along with it. Yes, at worst you might starve to death, but just trust in existence. Just today I told my daughter, well, she has just been fired to being a private nurse in a private household. They're pulling the funding from that man, that poor man whose wife is close to passing away. She's very old, and my daughter has been nursing, and now she has been fired. It's very, very sad in many ways, but it pushes every month to really do the right thing or not. And even if you're not doing the right thing right now, you will be having second and third chances. It's not over so quick. So I find it really interesting that the degree of the December 4th solar eclipse, which will be the kind of the culmination of this whole transformation. In a way, it will come to a place where then there will be a big remodeling, and that will happen in these days around the new moon, which will be a total solar eclipse on December 4th. Another date really to keep in mind. Powerful. I will make an extra video about that in itself. Just mentioning it here. So let's move on. Okay, tomorrow now Mars, yes, is having a conjunction for Radamantis. That's again heliocentric. Now, I don't show you here the heliocentric chart. You can see it if we just go back here one bit here to this one here, which is a heliocentric chart. You see it, Mars at 2:59 and Radamantis at 3:30. So there's only little messing here on the 15th, and then on the 16th, that is tomorrow, Tuesday, there will be exact. And this is while Mars and Uranus are getting ready for their opposition, which will be on the 17th. So there's lots of Mars energy around, and Mars and Uranus here in opposition, that is open conflict. That is hot war, in that sense of we are becoming vocal and loud, and now this also shows up in the human design. The human design, again, let me just open it here, then you see what I mean. Excuse me. Those of you new to this, these numbers are the correspondent hexagrams where these astrological points are in, and it is, let me show you here quickly the where you will find those degrees, where these okay, I thought I had it open here, one sec, too many things open, here it is, okay. Give it a sec, here it is. That's the overlay of the I Ching with the zodiac that is based on the human design system, and you can find the breakdown of the degrees, the exact segments where they start and end here on my old website, thecosmosofin.org. So this is the universal template of us humans, which we all share. It's kind of the tree of life, and we each have our own personal wiring, and now this is always overlaid with the collective wiring of that moment, the signature of this moment. That's what it is in an electromagnetic way spoken. So collectively these three centers here are connected, and if I quickly tell you that this is the baseline here, and I said it multiple times, this is a greatly auspicious connection which realigns us with nature. Each of us individually gives that direct connection from the sacral energy, which is our center of creation, where our sexuality is the fire of life, the hara, where we are directly linked into that grid of the material earth, of nature in a bigger way. And this connection up to the fifth chakra to our voice, of expressing nature, of giving nature a voice, that it really what it means. This is between September 4th and January 18, and that was immediately clear when I saw this. This was the window of transformation. So really it's 2 more months, to be very exact, 2 more months and a bit till the breakthrough really will arrive. It might linger a little longer, but I give it till mid-February for the big awakening to come full circle. That big event Bill Wood speaks about, of how, as he says, it's the convergence point, that the inevitable contraction of all timelines to the convergence point, to that place where we all meet in a way, in a new, I mean, it's something pretty hard to wrap one's mind around, but as we watch the signs and keep following it, how we grow together as a humanity, how we each come into our powers in our own ways, find our own calling, find ways to dislodge and to separate from this dying old world ruled by these dinosaurs, to say it in plain language. So anyway, this is a great process we are on. This is the baseline. The lunar nodes are making this connection. The early degrees of Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, then 6124, that's another one which is active for a long time. That's Uranus and Pluto, which are occupying these two gates. Uranus 24, return, and Pluto 61, inner truth. That is on between the October the 24th and January the 14th, and is called Awareness is Direct Insight in Higher Principles. That's what it means. And it's a gate of from the knowledge circuit, which is the center column. The knowledge circle is purely individual. This means that each person is able to see things in their own right, from their own perspective, through their own makeup, if you want to say, through their whatever their measures are to recognize, their tools, their settings. It is a personalized recognition of higher truth. This is what is defined right now by the Sun and Earth. That is again in opposition in the zodiac, 4333, one of these few powerful gates in which are opposing one another. Let me just quickly show you as we are here. So we see here 43 and 23, that is where the Earth is and where the Sun is right now, and the lunar nodes, that is here 20 and 34. These are also two which are opposing one another. There's only few of these oppositions astrologically which are also forming full channels. This channel is the ability to speak from a higher perspective and structure reality in a new way. It is also Rauruhu, who was the one who was originally channeling the human design system back in 1987. He named it from genius to freak. It is that ability of original thought expressed. Now, as we get closer to this important date of the 19th, and let me just change here, update this chart quickly to that moment, and then you see what I want to show you here. So what's now happening is that this connection is no more connected, but now we have this one here. And that is the channel of inspiration. It's a very important phase that will be, and that will be roughly from the 16th to the 22nd, starting tomorrow. And I want to say a few things about that. I did pull up the site where you can read about all these channels. That is this one here. That is human design tools. And if you put in, for example, 1-8 as one of these channels, you can just put in these two numbers, which are forming a channel. Just want to show you how you can search that. For example, here you see you have 37 and 40. You just put in 37-40 and then say human design, and you will get pretty much straight to that site which I'm quoting you from. So inspiration is self-projected creativity, and it has to be recognized. And here you have something unusual, because here you have the only creative voice of the individual. And this is a very, very important channel, as it is about giving the direction of mutation or evolution. It's a primary gate of direction, of creating a new path, of going into a new direction, literally speaking. So the next 6 days will be super, super powerful and important to go in that direction where your inner self wants you to go, regardless, fearless. You are invincible. Even though these structures out there are still up, they are no more having any power over you. You can just ignore them and they cannot harm you. That's pretty much where we are right now. And there will be people helping out each other. Don't worry about your... If you don't have the financial inflow anymore, just to reach out. People are ready to support each other. And as I said, I told my daughter, if you're running into problems, I will try my best to support you, as I'm in a better place. Mars Radamanthus, right, Mars Radamanthus. Radamanthus is about justice and doing it the right way. Honesty, integrity, impartial. Radamanthus was put in charge of judging over the dead by Zeus. Radamanthus also is the one who is putting out harsh penalties to those who are not holding up to the code of conduct. Interesting that at this moment, when this is exact, there is a Moon Eris conjunction. Eris here in square to Pluto, also naturally a Moon Pluto square, really bringing fire into this square once more, of Aries, again, in a nutshell, is the one who exposes problems, who isn't afraid to speak out what is not in balance, even at the danger of creating conflict and war temporarily, in order to find a better balance, a more sustainable truth, if you want. So Aries is very concerned with truth and yes, just that everything is according to higher order. No corruption. That's that square's energy, which has been really putting fire under Pluto's bum in the last 2 years, and still will for a couple years more, as this square still is within orb for quite a bit. And then, yes, on Wednesday, Mars-Uranus opposition. So it's really boom, boom, boom. There's lots and lots of energy is infused into the system right now. And this, now watch this. This is the Greenwich chart for that moment when Mars and Uranus are opposing each other. The 21st degree here of Gemini, and that is where Mars is in the American chart. I like that too. It really shows that, yes, that's where the male energy is most expressing itself, in that sense of putting one's foot down and saying, no, not this way. So now see this. Okay, this is Mars-Uranus opposition. Then 2 days later, on the 19th of November, and you again have that same degree when Mars is crossing the 13 degree 15 mark of entering hexagram 1, and that is when this channel is fully activated, which I just spoke about, that 1-8, that inspiration channel, Mars in hexagram 1 of creation, of the creative input of literally taking something and shifting it over into another direction. The dragon's energy, pure heaven, pure fire, pure male yang energy. This is intense. This will be on from the 19th roughly for about 10 days. Mars here in this segment of the zodiac. Let me tell you exactly. Then we know it is from the from the 19th into the 26th, actually the 27th. Yes, it is on for 8 days. So this will be really the window where many things will happen, fall into place. It will be fast. That first segment of alignment, and naturally the war is far from over. Then they gear up into a higher level of adverse actions, reactions, whatnot. So we can this won't be over so soon, but as I say, the lines are drawn, and the cosmic energies are backing us in remarkable ways. You see again Mars-Uranus opposition, and 2 days later Mars at 1315, again that same degree. And actually, sorry, it is not quite true. It is a trine. Okay, I said it slightly wrong. So this is Gemini, and here we have then Libra and Aries, and then Libra and Aries again. Okay, when the lunar eclipse is exact in Washington DC. So this is Greenwich, and this is when Mars changes that line into hexagram 1 into the creative, and on the same day, a few hours later, when the moon then will be in exact opposition of the sun, when full moon will be exact and the eclipse will be at its peak, and this time for Washington DC, this degree is again showing up. So there's again this transference of energy globally when Mars is entering that powerful segment. This is transferred and expressed through the partial lunar eclipse alignment for Washington. I guess you get the picture here. And this is then the lunar eclipse for Greenwich, the global one, and the great attractor here at 14 degrees 22, I guess is it exactly right now. Very powerful point in the zodiac. It's the confluence point of all the galaxies in our local neighborhood of thousands and thousands of light years. That's where all these galaxies eventually will converge and end up in. So there's an amazing attraction to this point. Huya is here, which I mentioned a couple times earlier. Huya is about coming to terms with our past. I guess that's the best way to say it. It's a healing process which we have to go through, I should say. Let me just see, I have written a few words about Huya here. Huya is a Plutino named after a Venezuelan rain and winter god. Huya asks us to open ourselves to transform fixed patterns from past lives, and from naturally what we are leaving behind is a past life. Very literal, I should say. Freeing oneself and transition to more flexible expressions. If necessary, going through a therapy, psychotherapy or whatever is offering itself in that moment, help from outside. It means to eliminate a mental virus. How about that? Because that's one other way of seeing the Great Awakening. It is the elimination of the mental virus of programming, of false truths and all these dogmas and belief systems which are based on lies and misinformation, which we all have to flush down. And then naturally there is the black moon here at the descent, and yes, it's not a nice scene we are having to go through. It is the thick and it's the bottleneck, as Bill Wood mentions it, that last final segment of pushing everything into the same direction, which can be a little bit harsh and difficult for those who are not yet fully ready for it, and there will be many who will be just pushed into it. That's why it is so important for us, those who are a little ahead of the game, to be very compassionate and help and hold hands to those who are just about getting it and seeing the full picture, or at least as it's partially, piece by piece, more unraveled yes, that's the phase I'm most afraid of, if of anything, when it's impossible to go out to the streets, when people will go mad, when they just will go crazy for a while, and that has to come, that time, and it will not be nice. And that's what this black moon here at the 7th house cusp opposing Huya really means. The saving grace here is Hygeia up high in the 10th house, right at midheaven. Hygeia is health, well-being, and serendipity, being at the right time, at the right place at the right time. So it is all good. We just have to accept the intensity of that fire. Mars opposing Uranus in hexagram 1. It is intense. It will be very intense what we will go through. Actually, yes, I mean, it's no surprise. This month started with a new moon opposing Uranus. We knew that this would be a powerful month. This is obvious. I mean, every astrologer knew that. We didn't exactly know how it will play out, but it's just starting to become more clear. And yes, aside from that, this full moon is aligned with Algol, the eye of the Medusa. Algol is considered a very difficult energy, connected to darkness and bringing darkness to light. Interesting that over the last few years, Setna has been transiting over Algol, so Setna has been definitely more dark than it was for many decades and years. Setna, an important ingredient in what we have been going through in terms of separation and being not allowed to interact with one another, social distancing, and all those things. Isolation, yes, I said that already, and then that climate which is then making us remember all the other dark traumas we have gone through. It's kind of, it has really been very, very accentuated by Setna in these degrees with Algol, and now the moon here, the full moon, the eclipsed moon, and this eclipse actually is a partial one, so you won't really see that much. You might see a shadow going over the moon, and it is visible from North America and I guess from Europe too. In those last degrees of Taurus, yes, it again, it will be what it is. It is tying into the energy of that whole half year, which I pointed out, when Earth was as its aphelion on July the 5th, farthest away from the Sun. That's where the Moon was. And 4 weeks ago, when the Sun entered Scorpio, on the Scorpio ingress chart, the Moon was also here in these last degrees of Taurus. So there's, it seems this is getting, I mean, this is the intense month of transformation. That was clear with that moment when the Moon at the ingress of the Sun into Scorpio was here in these final degrees of Taurus, resonating with that bass tone of that half year of, yes, we are pushed to look at what is dysfunctional in our society, in our lives. Anyway, I think I will cap it at this. I could say way more. I leave it for now. Thank you for joining and listening, and I will make another one in a few days. So just keep your eyes open and subscribe if you like. Okay. Thank you. Love you. And we will get to a better place. Yes. It is already here. You just have to make it happen.